The following program contains graphic descriptions of the life of Muhammad. If you suffer from the notion that all religions are equal, this show might not be right for you. Check with your local imam.
Speaking the truth when others hold their tongues. Wrestling for justice with left-wingers and crocodiles. Resisting the temptation to keep the peace at any price. The host who has no equal. He uses sweet and low. Randall Terry.
Thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Then why did you come and see me, Timmy? I love you. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. We just got back from Ground Zero in New York City, and 39,000 more Americans lost their job last month, and 41 million Americans are right now on food stamps. Today's program brought to you in part by CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. When you need a man, send a girl. And by the next president of the United States, whoever he is, please. Even you, Sarah. Yes, Sarah Palin, please. I'm going to take a quick break and give my good friend Sir Reginald Bling a chance to talk, and then we're going to show you some footage from Ground Zero. Just turn on the tape. I got something to say. Ladies, listen to me. Do you know why you can vote? You can vote because there were other women who suffered, who sacrificed, who had horrible, unspeakable things done to them, said about them, so that you could vote. And now you say, oh, look at me. I'm a part of the Tea Party movement. But we don't want to be too radical. We don't want to say something that might get us in trouble. Excuse me? If you think you have all that going on inside you, then you better be willing to suffer, girl. Hello, friend. Just traveled 500 miles from D.C. to New York and back to take us to the mosque at Ground Zero. Yes, we were there holding up passages of the Quran and the Sharia and the Sunnah at Ground Zero. Ground Zero? Can you even stand on a zero? Yes, evidently you can. This is a segment of the footage that was taken today showing us in action. We'll come back when this is over and talk to you about other items that are in the news. On September 11th, we tore up passages of the Quran in front of the White House. As a result of that, various Islamic authorities have been calling for us to be punished by our government or killed outright. We're going to do it again here. If we cower in fear before Sharia law, then they're already winning. This passage of the Quran says that Christians who say that God is the Messiah, in other words, God incarnate, Jesus Christ, the Son of Mary, the punishment of those who wage war against God and his apostle and strive for mission through the land is crucifixion, or the cutting off of the hands and feet from opposite sides, or exile. We are going to, if you are a Christian, this calls for you to be crucified or executed or banished. We're going to tear this passage and then rip it out of the Quran. This is a passage from the Quran. This is the same page that he's going to tear up. You first, behind you. Surah 5:33. Muslims who become Christians or leave Islam are called apostates. Apostates are supposed to be killed under Sharia law. And this is what it says. If he repents, fine, accept it. But if he does not, then he is to be killed, and his body is not to be embalmed, nor is it to be buried in a cemetery, because Muhammad said, it says that his body is to be thrown upon the ground as a public example.
This is Sharia law. Ma'am, you're a Muslim. Do you support Sharia law? Do you believe this should happen if you become a Christian? Go ahead.
You know, the Coptic Christians have been suffering for over 1,000 years. This is a passage of the letter that Muhammad wrote to the leader of the Coptic Christians. He said, I invite you to accept Islam. If you accept, you will find peace. You will save your throne. If you turn your back on this offer, the responsibility for the disaster to befall you, your subjects, belongs to you. He threatened the Coptic Christians. The Coptic Christians did not accept the offer to deny their faith in Jesus Christ, and they have been persecuted violently for over 1,000 years.
Lay down the sword of Islam. Lay down the sword.
Sit it on that pole. Here. He said, these are from the Hadith. He said, I have been sent with the sword between my hands to ensure that no one but Allah is worshipped. We call upon Muslim political leaders around the world, lay down the sword of Muhammad. Lay down the sword of Islam. If Islam is a religion of peace, why do you have to kill people who will not follow?
Now I want you to notice the word terror. The purpose of terror is not for the dead. The purpose of terror is for the living. When the intention is murder, your goal is to kill a certain person. But with terror, the person you've killed is not the point. It's to terrify others that are yet living. This is what the Quran says. When the Lord revealed to the angels, saying, I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. Smite them the upper part of their necks. Smite off all the fingertips. That is because they have opposed Allah and His apostle. These are threatening words. These are clearly words compelling people through fear, through terror, to embrace Islam and to bow to the demands of Sharia law.
Oh, Islam, stop murdering the innocent.
This is the same passage. Go ahead, show them the passage before you do it. This is the same passage from the Quran.
These are words of violence, not peace.
If Islam is a religion of peace, then it shouldn't stir up trouble. You can't have it both ways. If Imam Rauf is a moderate who does not believe in Sharia law and does not believe in the death sentences that have come against us, then let him say so publicly. That's all we ask. If he really wants to take the sword out of Islam's hands, show us. Throughout history, looking at World War II, looking at the American Revolution, when you have a message or a messenger that is trying to enslave you, you must defy it. It would be suicide for us to not confront these passages and not expose them. You don't have the right to oppress people in the name of religion. I don't want peace if the price is justice. If Sharia law prevailed in America like it has in Saudi Arabia or in Pakistan, we would cease to exist as a people.
This is what we say to Sharia law. Andrew, you first. I'll read you now. Just do this rule. Okay, go ahead.
Islam, be peaceful.
No to Sharia law in Islam.
We will not surrender to Islam.
I remember when Randall and I listened to Teddy Roosevelt's whistle stop campaign on the Bull Moose ticket. He didn't buy his arguments then, and he hasn't changed a bit since.
Moments with Moses. If you will not obey the voice of the Lord your God, or be careful to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command you this day, then all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you.
Welcome back to the program, friend. In our next segment, I'm going to come back to our efforts in New York City and our efforts in Washington, D.C., which we will show you in tomorrow's program, boy, oh boy, the boys and girls that care, I've got something to say to them and to Timmy at Esquire magazine. Timmy. But first, to other news. Last month, 39,000 Americans lost their job. The unemployment rate is higher than it's been in over 20 years. To make matters worse, 41 million plus Americans are now on food stamps. This is the highest number of Americans on food stamps in the history of the nation. I want to talk freely to you for a minute, and it's going to be a little bit painful. First of all, my heart goes out to every single person who has lost their job. Our organization, our work depends upon people who want to send us $20 or get a copy of one of our teaching series. So we feel it. Our revenue is down extensively. We are struggling to survive. So we know the pain of late bills, creditors calling, the whole 9 yards. My heart goes out to you. Second of all, the fact that 41 million Americans are on food stamps is in my brain unthinkable. That's way over 1 in 10 Americans. God help this country. But the thing that I want to say in the most gracious, loving terms that I can is this. Do we have the right to have our daily bread from the labor of another man against his will? Now, I don't know who is on food stamps, and my heart goes out to people right now who are struggling economically. And when we discuss these things, in my opinion, it should not be cavalier. It should not be in a hard-hearted or harsh manner. But the truth of the matter is this, that we in the Tea Party movement are going to have some Waterloos very quickly. Waterloos regarding our core principles. Do you, do I, do we have the right to eat our bread from the sweat of another man's brow? And that phrase, of course, comes pretty closely from President Lincoln's second inaugural. If I am eating my bread from the sweat of another man's brow against his will, that by definition is a type of tyranny or a type of slavery. And so I just want to leave you with this food for thought. The third rail, the one that you touch and you get electrocuted in American politics, allegedly is Social Security. We need to discuss freely. We need to begin to painfully look at what it will mean to really end socialism in America. And that means, by definition, that we talk about phasing out Social Security, phasing out Medicare, phasing out Medicaid, and phasing out food stamps. And then returning to true charity, to true love of neighbor. Because if you look at American history, before these so-called safety nets, we were the freest, the most wealthy, and the most generous and charitable nation probably in the history of the human race. And I trust you, with your money, to be gracious and charitable to your neighbor more than I trust Obama and company to seize your money and to give it willy-nilly. Food for thought. I'm going to take a break and come back and return to New York City and to Washington, D.C. Don't go away.
I'll even donate my voice so that you don't cluck like a clucking, moronic, stupid peahead. I'll give you my backbone and my voice box if you just promise to use it.
Some people's idea of free speech is that they are free to say what they like, But if anyone says anything back, that is an outrage. Sir Winston Churchill. Welcome back to the program, friend. Allow me, if you will, to be a little bit serious for a minute, right to the point of being emotional. I promise I'll stop myself, but let me read a verse from the Bible to kind of give you a framework of where my heart and mind are at. Oh, that my head were waters and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Those words from the prophet Jeremiah. There are times that you and I look at something, a family member, a relationship, a situation in politics or in the culture wars, babies dying, Christians being persecuted in Islamic lands. We look at those situations and our heart is so grieved that we literally weep. Or we say to ourselves, I wish that just for a minute my head was a fountain and my eyes could just pour out tears. We spent about an hour and a half in front of the Ground Zero Mosque. Different television cameras coming out, different print journalists. One young journalist from Esquire magazine coming and then writing a mocking report. Evidently, I didn't talk enough about cleavage and abs for guys. I don't know. Anyway, not that Esquire is a fount of wisdom, but the truth of the matter is this. This is the worst time in American history for us to be called upon to stand for eternal truth. There's an old expression, none are as blind as the willfully blind. And as I have watched people's reaction to us standing against Sharia law, as I've listened to people respond to us talking about the Hadith or the Sunnah, it has vexed me to the core of my being because we're in danger. We're in danger because we don't have the courage to stand for our convictions, but we're even in more danger because we don't have convictions. My wife said something very profound to me yesterday. She said, if the average Christian in America won't stand against the killing of innocent babies, when it will cost us so little in this country, how are they going to muster the courage to stand against Islam and Sharia law that might threaten their very life? We've lost our way. We really, really have. We're really in trouble. And those of us that are given to prayer and to reading and to contemplation, meditation, I think it's fitting for me, even though this show usually has a lot more comedy and a lot more challenge, I think it's fitting to encourage people to get on their knees and to reflect internally, God, where am I at in all this? And then to say those words, Lord, what do you want me to do? Here am I. Send me. Use me. I'll be your hands and feet, no matter what it costs. I'll take a quick break. I'll be right back. May the creditor seize all that he has. May strangers plunder the fruits of his toil. Let there be none to extend kindness to him, nor any to pity his fatherless children. Samuel Adams said, our enemies would fain have us lie down on the bed of sloth and security and persuade ourselves that there is no danger. They are daily administering the opiate with multiplied arts and delusions. I spoke earlier today with a journalist from Esquire magazine and talked to him about Neville Chamberlain and the leadership of England in the 1930s, who appeased Hitler when they had the chance to stop him. As I thought about it, I realized they did not have malice. What they had was misplaced priority and misplaced trust. And some of us have the same thing. We trust those that are committed to our enslavement or our destruction, and we put far too much priority on peace when what we should be pursuing is justice. Remember, justice before peace. God bless you.